Have you ever thought that maybe we are all Martians? There's a term that's more science fiction than fact called panspermia. It's the idea that life originated outside of Earth and was delivered kind of like the spores of a dandelion. Now, in science fiction, that could mean that we are all descendants of Mars, because something like bacteria could find its way to seed the early life on Earth. Now, I'm from the desert, so I couldn't find a dandelion. So this bubble machine is going to represent life. And when I turn it on, these bubbles are like spores. And they are trying to go seed all of you, which are planets. And if you'll notice, most of them are not hitting any targets. But a few of you, especially in the front, are probably going to get a little bit of this, we'll call it bacteria. Now, this idea of panspermia is pretty fun, but it's extremely difficult to prove. It's almost unprovable because we only have one source of life, and that is on Earth. So I try to think about this idea more scientifically useful. So I imagine something like Amazon. What if Amazon would ship the building blocks of life to other planets? I came up with a term that I like to think of as supernova panspermia. Supernova are when massive stars, really big stars, much bigger than our sun, when they end their life, they implode and then explode. And these explosions are so energetic that they're the most energetic things in our galaxy. They also are so energetic that they create everything around us. They create all of the chemical elements that make up our world. And they create these elements, and these elements form more complex objects. And they do this using rules and formulas and all that boring stuff you hated in high school. And it's important, though, because life needs these elements in certain proportions. Without those proportions, it can't exist. Supernova are explosions, and they're decently spherical, but they're not uniform. Different elements like oxygen or silicon, things that we need, are formed in different parts of the supernova and ejected more like the explosion of a firework, where you can see the tendrils come and go, and you can see specific parts. So I'm going to turn this on once more, and instead of this being just life in general, this is now a supernova. And I want you to use your imagination and think, what if each one of these bubbles were color-coded? And each color represented a different element, like sulfur or phosphorus or basically anything. Now, instead of just needing one bacteria bubble, you need the right selection of all this color code. Which means now, to be a planet with what you need to create life, things are much more difficult. And to be an optimist, there are billions of stars and probably billions of planets and dozens of bubble machines. And so when you're looking for life, which can sometimes be like looking for a needle in a haystack, understanding where these elements are formed and distributed can help us color code this haystack. And so instead of looking for a galactic hay pile, we can maybe narrow it down to a mug full of toothpicks. And that makes the search much less daunting. Thank you.